All praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah Bahashem Harakhakodash, double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. Right, so I listened to this guy, M Guy Australia. Now he is very much against electric vehicles, and he's always bringing out the information on how that they're really just not worth getting. Now, I'm not talking to, any brother or sister who got electric vehicles, not a shot at you or anything like that. But what I'm just gonna highlight is how that the wisdom of Esau Edom has left him, because part of this big push for the new control, what they call the global reset, part of that is what they call generated by what net zero. They're trying to say they're trying to reduce carbon emissions, because the push is to so-called save the earth, but it's failing them. And electric cars are supposed to be one of the main driving forces. And you got Elon Musk, and you got Tesla, and you got these electric vehicles, and he's supposed to save the planet. But all the information that's being brought forth that this technology is not suitable at all. And in fact, a regular old gas powered vehicle is better in basically in all ways versus an electric car. The only real advantage is that you can accelerate much faster, so you can go 60 miles per hour in a very shorter time frame. That's like the only big whoop, but there's nothing but disadvantages compared to a regular car. So what that basically shows is that that in their attempt to try to take a step forward, they're taking like 20 steps back. So this isn't going to work, and it's already failing in front of their eyes. Like before everybody, like he does videos showing how like you got car rental places trying to sell their vehicles. All of these dealerships are trying to just give away basically those electric vehicles for free, because people has had them, they test rode them, they brought information out on them, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it, and it's impractical, and it ain't working. And it what basically just shows is that the Esau Edom, his wisdom is gone. Okay, this step to try to force people into this type of vehicle, really they're trying to force it in you so they can control you and prevent you from going anywhere. And that's, even when you read the comments, that's what people are starting to realize, which is turning more people away from electric vehicles. So it just goes to show you that in every little angle they try to push this new world agenda, they're taking like 10 steps back, and the Lord is making a mockery out of them. Just listen to a little bit.
In November at Hillsdale College, Michigan, he explains why EV mandates are all about removing personal freedoms rather than reducing emissions. But we don't need to worry, because they'll never work anyway. Let's get into it. Number 1. EVs don't reduce oil use. Ignoring the fact that the fantasy policy of net zero fails to appreciate that oil is used for thousands of other products that we rely on in our daily lives, banning combustion cars will make virtually zero difference to global energy consumption.
If it were the case that half of all the world's vehicles were electrically propelled, burn no oil, which is a goal that's functionally impossible to achieve in the remotely foreseeable future. But even if that were to happen, and by the way, half of all the world's vehicles becoming EVs is 100-fold growth of where we are today. It's a lot of growth. But even were that to happen, it would reduce the world's need for oil by about 10%. This is not an existential threat to big oil. Meanwhile, what's actually happening, consider these facts, that even as the number of EVs has risen, and it has, from nearly zero about a decade ago, to more than 40 million EVs in the world now, that is, all electric vehicles. And that's a big number. 40 million is a significant number of all electric vehicles. But that didn't stop the growth in the consumption of gasoline. This year, gasoline consumption globally is reaching record peaks, blowing past the peak gasoline consumption that took place just prior to the great and feckless lockdowns from COVID.
Number 2, EVs don't reduce CO2 emissions. This is why we're being forced into driving EVs, according to our governments. But it's all a lie.
The International Energy Agency's accounting bragged in their most recent report that globally EVs are already avoiding 150 megatons of CO2 emissions. Sounds like a big number. Well, you could do the math on this. That's about 0.4% of global CO2 emissions. Not such a big number. Or maybe for context, in a more sort of, in a way, grotesque way, the oil-burning war machines that are rampaging across Ukraine right now, those machines are emitting more new CO2 every 6 months than all the world's EVs combined have eliminated.
Number 3. The mining for EVs emits more CO2 than they save.
So the point is, when they go to push this control and these lockdowns and keeping you from eating real meat, it's all arguing the same thing. We're trying to save the planet. We need to stop CO2s. Even when they eventually go into depopulate, try to throw out the algorithm, you say that word, is going to catch it. Because there's an agenda with that as well, self-deletions and the deletions of mass people. Because they say, oh, people are the number one CO2 emitters, so we need to delete people. To say it's all a lie. Okay, it's just their deception to push the New World Order, which is lockdown. They tell you they're trying to save the planet, they're trying to save you, and you need to agree. And this is new technology, it's a new way to go, and it all is going to lead you to ultimately to be controlled in every way, shape, or form, from your vehicle, from what you eat, and all the way up to the microchip. But their technology has failed them. Their wisdom has failed them, because now information is being brought out where those are actually the least practical type of vehicles to use. The wisdom's just failing them, period. It's just failing them. Jeremiah 49:7, concerning Edom, thus said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? And the apostles like to explain the Teman are the Edomites, really from Germany, and those are supposed to be the geniuses, the smartest of the Edomites. But as you can see, their wisdom is failing them. This push to try to get people to be convinced that this is going to save them, and they believe that it's going to work, is already failing them right before their eyes. Is already failing them. But they need an excuse to justify doing all this, right? And the justification is supposed to be net zero. We're trying to save the planet. We're trying to save humanity, but they're actually doing more harm than good. So right off the bat, nobody's buying it. Nobody's believing it. And this is why, as the prophecy says, they're just going to ultimately have to resort to force of the sword, because the Lord has taken the wisdom from Teman away, right? That, mind you, this is supposed to be the future. This is supposed to be the next wave. And even in their movies, like, let me look it up real quick. Like even in iRobot, I saw that again the other day. This was supposed to be in 2035. So when they made this movie back in the early 2000s, and they make all these movies, they have their hopes set up super high. Like, this is what we're going to be in the next 20 years, in the next 30 years. It's not happening. 2035 is basically 10 years from now. And we're not going to make it to 10 years from now, Lord's willing. This place is going to be destroyed. But you're not even anywhere close to this level of sophistication. But this is their pride. When they make these movies, they truly do believe this is where we're going to be. And these electric vehicles and all these technology is supposed to be next level. But it turns out to be worse than what's already here. It's worse than what's already your current methods. And then I also got this pulled up. And I'm just really going to see if this video is going to last by the end of the year. But, this is NASA. Again, they posted this video in 2019. And as it says, we are going to the moon to stay by 2024. This is how. So 5 years ago, they apparently asked for 5 more years to do something that they apparently did with ease well over 50 years ago. You see, the wisdom is failing them. And they truly did believe. The reason they lied is because they wanted to set their nest among the stars, as the scripture says. They wanted the world to believe that they're the ones that conquered. They're the first people to ever achieve this great goal. They went to the moon, right? And the reason they kept the lie going, because they really did believe that they were going to come up with the technology to be able to achieve that, especially back then. But here we are over 50 years, and they realize that they can't. Why? Because the Lord did not give them that knowledge and the ability to do that. So it just all backfires. So come by the end of this year, People gonna asking questions. Hey, what about that time you said you was going back to the moon to stay? What did Trump say? Like, oh no, it's time to go to Mars. All this talk, all these promises is failing them. It's failing them right before their face, and their own people are calling out. It's hilarious. Wisdom is no more in Teman, as Ezekiel 28, verse 16, talking about Tyrus, which America can be acknowledged as Tyrus as well. It says, by the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of Yahweh, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of the fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty, and thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. So the ultimate prophecy is that the Lord's going to cast you down, beginning with your wisdom, your economy, your wars, at all angles. He's going to bring you down, and your wisdom is failing. You're failing you right before your own people's faces. Now they're just basically trying to give away those electric vehicles. If you're going to get it, you should definitely do some research before getting any electric vehicle for the record. I mean, you do what you want. You know, it's not a sin or whatever. But I personally, I would never touch that. You know, I'll ride my bicycle before I even ride one of those things. Right? They're just really trying to set it up for the sake of controlling people. You know, the wisdom of Teman is failing. Like I said, this is supposed to be the future, right? This is supposed to be the next level. It's going to save the planet. Man, them things are just sitting on lots. Don't nobody want those things, because it's not even turns out they're not even better than regular gas powered vehicle. You better off with a damn bicycle. At least you know your bicycle will work, and it won't just shut down on you randomly and lock you in the car, right? Yeah, these, just go look up what people are going through. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's not a sin. If you have one, or if you get one, if you want to get one, it's just not wise. And at this point, most of these lots are just trying to give them away. So that just goes to show you that Esau, Edom, his wisdom is failing him. And whenever step he tried to take forward, he's really like 10 steps back. That's what the Lord's able to do. He said he take the wise in his own craftiness. So now when they come and try to bring this new world order agenda, guess what? It ain't going to work as they think. So what are they going to resort to? Violence. That's what Revelation chapter 12 said. They're just going to resort to violence. Right? I love it. I just want to cover that real quick. Shalom.